another blood-red sunset and yet another moon face, and still another 100 miles to my next resting place. Driving down the road, eyes on the horizon. Within my car, I'm all alone, but feeling good and feeling strong, knowing that this path I'm on brings me to myself. I'm driving.
Hello, and welcome to Spirit Sherpa, the show that helps you on your journey to unlock your magic mojo. I'm Jules, your co-host. If you're new to this work, please start with episode 1. Intermediates, you can start with episode 98. And advanced students, practitioners, you can jump ahead to episode 200. With me, as always, to share her insights and wisdom is the spirit doctor, Kelle Sparta. What's up, Kelle?
I'm Weird Barbie.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Y'all, if y'all have not seen the Weird Barbie thing, you got to go check her out. Where did I see you on Facebook, Instagram? Because I don't have TikTok. I know you're on TikTok.
Yeah, everywhere.
Oh my God, flipping hilarious.
There's a bar near me, and they'd like me to MC some of their stuff, and they were having a Barbie party, and so I came in as Weird Barbie. And so I haven't seen the movie. I keep wanting to see the movie, but once it's been past 2 weeks here in Panama, it's all in Spanish, and so my Spanish isn't good enough to go see it. But so I've got to wait till it comes out on video. But I saw the clip, and so I went all in on Weird Barbie.
All right. So for people who have no clue what who a Weird Barbie is and haven't seen the clip.
Yeah. Weird Barbie is the one that, you cut her hair and you painted on her, you drew on her face and you painted her nails and her fingers and she smells like basement.
That is not a good
Barbie.
Smell.
We've all had Weird Barbie,
The funny part is I can remember as a kid, there was this it was like just the head, right? And they had one, it came out after I got mine, that it regrows the hair.
Right, which we all desperately needed because we all wanted to cut her hair.
Yes. And so finally I'm like, I'm cutting her hair because I'm going to be a beautician when I grow up. Yes, I said beautician, people. It was a word back then. And so I cut that hair and I'm trying to pull the hair out and I'm like, there's no more there to grow. Mama said, no, you don't have that one. I'm like, well, can you get it? And she's like, yeah, no.
But I wanted to
but I want to practice.
I wanted to be a hairdresser too. I did. That
was the coolest job ever.
Hair too. I did.
Yes.
Yeah. I was all about it.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
And then you see those, the statue of Buddha, like the typical statue of Buddha. All right. That's what my dad looked like. Okay. Just saying, except he was like white American dude. Right. So, but he had the little hair. He was bald on top, but he had the little hair going all the way around. Okay. So I would ask him to grow his little hair out so I could put the curlers and like the sponge rollers. I would put the sponge rollers in his hair. And then so for you youngins, y'all can look this up. Way back when women used to go to the beauty salon and like get their hair done each week, they used those bristle ones, right? With all the little things sticking out. You had these little pins.
Scratch the crap out of your head. And yeah, oh my God, they were terrible.
Yes. Well, he got so used to me doing that. I even used the bristle ones on him, on this little bald man, and he would fall asleep and take his afternoon nap. And I was just, going to town doing his hair, thinking I was just doing something.
That was a very good father, man.
Yes, let me tell you. He had his moments, but on that, he scored on that one.
Yeah, my father would never have done that in a million years.
Oh,
that
yeah.
would never have happened.
Oh, yeah. Even Mitch, my husband, whenever his daughter was little, he sat there and painted his nails, painted his toenails, everything, the whole 9 yards.
My dad would never have allowed that. Never in a million years. That would not have happened. He'd have been like, go do it to your mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
this is not for men. That was the thing. That's hysterical. All right. Well, so, enough about Barbie.
No, enough about Barbie. right, we're going to put Barbie away now.
Putting the Barbies back in the basement. Yes.
Yes, back in the basement.
You need to acquire their smell. Yes.
That's it.
So today we're going to talk about we're going to start our energy healing series, which is also part of the overall healing series that we will be doing over the next however long till we get tired of it. And then today we're going to talk about Reiki, because anytime you're talking about energy healing, Reiki is the default that everybody thinks about. So we're going to start there. And, you guys have all heard my opinion of Reiki in the past, which is, it's great training wheels for energy users. And it is a great, starter point. I know a lot of people who are Reiki masters who no longer use it, but when we used it, it was super useful. Right. And I did use it for probably 10 years before I moved on and created my own dynamics and my own energy patterns that I use now. So, this is one of those things that is a jumping off point, right? You learn the basics of energy work in your Reiki training. And from there, you can evolve out as you learn other practices and other systems. Some people continue to use it their entire career. Some people use it for a while and then move on. Depends on the person. For me, I used it for a while and moved on. But I do acknowledge that it was a really valid foundation point for me in my energy work. So we're going to talk about it from that perspective. We're not going to give away all the hints and secrets of Reiki because, that's not our place to do. And besides, Diane Stein already did that in her book, Essential Reiki. So if you want to cheat and get all the details, you can just go buy that book. But, don't go and do the weekend workshop that takes you from 0 to Reiki Master in a weekend, because that shit'll fuck you up, man. That'll fuck you up hard. So there's this wonderful thing in Reiki called a healing crisis. And if you want to experience a healing crisis at a steroid level, do 0 to Reiki Master in a weekend. That'll kick your ass. That's a really bad idea. Okay. I don't even know if she's still doing those, but don't do it. So no, you shouldn't. You can do 1 and 2 in a weekend if you want to. That could be done, but don't go beyond that. You need time for it to settle in your system. Here's the thing about any energy healing process, right? So Reiki is sort of the foundation piece, but any energy clearing process that you're looking at, if you go to somebody for a chakra clearing or anything like that, what you have to recognize is that the cleansing of the chakras, the cleansing of the aura, the cleansing of your beingness, right, is only as good as the shift in your mentality that goes along with it. Now, there are a few exceptions to that rule. So if you are having a problem where you are dealing with issues that you picked up ick from somewhere, right? You went to an event and it was icky and entities came and it sucked on you or whatever, then an energy clearing will be permanent for that until you get another one. Obviously, in case if you don't have a shield up, this would, by the way, be a reminder to set your shields, right? And so, but the upshot is that if it's something like that, it can be cleared and it'll be one and done, right? But for the vast majority of stuff that's in people's chakras, those energetics are belief created. And so they're created out of the inner beliefs that you hold. And so you can clear the chakras all day long. And they'll be that way for a while. And then the pattern is going to come back if it's belief-based. Because if you're not changing the beliefs, then the pattern is created by the beliefs. As you engage the beliefs, then the whole thing comes back. Okay. So, there's limits to energy work. And this is one of the things that as an energy practitioner, you need to disclose to people, right? So I had a situation where a friend of mine called me up and she's like, oh my God, I've got this steel plate on my shoulders. And I think I've told this story, but I don't think I've told it in like 4 years. So I'm going to tell it again. But she said, I feel like I've got, the steel plate on my shoulders and I can't move my shoulders. They're so stuck and I just need this pulled off. And I said, well, I said, what's going on? And she told me about all the stuff she was doing in her life and how she was taking care of somebody else's kid and would go to court and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you do realize the plate's functional for you, right? It's helping you to hold up the weight of the world that you've got on your shoulders, Atlas, right? It's like
that she has created.
Exactly. And she's like, I know, but I need it gone. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I pulled it off and she's like, oh my God, thank you. And I'm like, you do realize it's not going to last. She's like, I know, it's okay. And we talked a little bit more, like 10, 15 minutes later. And I'm like, so how's that plate doing? And it was back. And she's like, oh my God, it's back. I said, I know, baby. I told you it was functional. It had a purpose. And the minute you started talking about all the stuff you were carrying, that plate came back because you were aware of it and therefore it was necessary again. And I said, it's going to be there until you put this stuff down. That's how it works. You need to let people know that, right? And, I'm going to tell you some of the things that your Reiki master may not tell you. Okay. First is energetic hygiene. And we talked about this in the very first season of the podcast. I want to say it was in the first 10, 15 episodes. I think it was episode 8 or 9, actually. So it's terrifying that I remember that. Okay. Anyway, that was a freaking long time ago. But the energetic hygiene is crucial if you're going to do energy work, especially if you're going to do it in your own home. But energetic hygiene meaning don't take on other people's crap. Don't leave it sitting on the floor. You don't want to walk through it and have it attached to you. You don't want it to get spread throughout your house. You don't want it to walk out into the street with the people who are getting off the table. Make sure that you transmute that energy or ground it so that it is not sitting there, right? And I know a lot of Reiki teachers who don't do anything around this. And so they don't talk about setting space. They may teach the putting chakras up on the walls, but they rarely tell you floor and ceiling. So if you're going to use not chakras, the chokure.
I was going to say, wait, I was like, chakras, yeah. What? No. Okay. Yeah. Power symbol. Yeah.
Power symbol. Yeah.
Power symbol.
Brain fart. Anyway. So they'll tell you to do it on the walls, but they often forget to tell you floor and ceiling. And so, it's no good to set a container that has open floor and ceiling. It's not a container, right? If it's not complete, it's not a container. So they'll often do that. They will often also not talk to you at all about how to clear your space when you're done or anything like that. So
that was one of the first things that we learned in my class. Yeah. That was Kinyoku. That was one of the first things that we did.
But Reiki is taught in an energetic vacuum. And if people get their materials from a lot of different places and it's unregulated. And so you don't know what somebody decided wasn't important or what somebody didn't include and Reiki itself was taught as an apprenticeship. So it wasn't structured until Mrs. Takata brought it to the US. And even then she taught it as an apprenticeship for a long time. So, anybody who came out of any of those lineages could have any randomness that they picked up or didn't pick up from their apprenticeship. And people, Reiki is basically a big game of telephone, right? I train you, you train the next person, they train the next person. And unless everything is written down, the trainings will shift as people go through. And even if it is written down, people are going to teach from their own knowledge base. And so they may drop things out and put other things in because they think they're more important. And, if they're teaching out of their home, which is warded and protected, they may not put in anything. They may not put anything in the program about protecting your space because they're operating in a protected space. So it doesn't matter to them and they don't do it. There's lots of reasons why people may not include things that I think are crucial, right? Which is why I want to mention them. The other thing about Reiki is that, and this is energy healing in general, right? What was it that I was going to say? It's gone now. The other thing about Reiki is specifically is that, we give out the message that Reiki can do no harm, which is theoretically true. The energy itself can do no harm, but it's practically often not true. And the challenge there is that when you are getting Reiki, you're not always necessarily getting only Reiki. And so while the energy of Reiki itself can't do harm, it doesn't stop the practitioner from sending you other energies at the same time. And so it creates a false sense of security.
Oh, if they wanted to interject their own stuff in there.
Yeah. Or if
Okay.
they unconsciously interject their own stuff in there. Or, even if they're not trying to interject something else, if they have their own emotional energetic associated with something going on, if they're triggered by something, or if they're in the classic wounded healer position, right? They may have own energy all built up around it, sending that through because they can't get out of their own way. And so they're sending all that ick into your energy field too. So I have a concern about telling people that Reiki can do no harm, because it sets up a false sense of security for that reason. And so, I would be careful about marketing it in that way for that reason, So just keep that in mind as you're going through the process, right? So now, energy healing in general. As a practitioner, it's important to make sure that when people come in for energy healing, they are often coming in a do me position. They're like, oh, just do me, make it better, right? They've abdicated their power to you as the healer to do healing work on them. And we all know that that's not how it works, right? We know that we can only bring the energy, but they have to actually allow the healing. They have to actually engage with the healing work to make it more significant or long lasting if it's a belief-based issue. So as the healer, it's your job to really bring the person back into an understanding that this is a done with you process, not a done to you process. Now, the exception to this rule is if you have somebody who is so amped up, so overdone that they are incapable of managing their own emotions and their own any energy and anything else. If they're just beyond overdone, if they're fried and crispy crittered, they're not going to be able to participate in their own healing. But you're not actually going to be able to do healing with them either. What you're going to be doing is pulling the stress out of their energy field, right? And that's a different thing. So you're not actually healing, you're just taking them down to baseline. You're draining the energy of overwhelm and overdone and crispy crittered out of their central nervous system. That's what you're doing. And that is all you're doing in that scenario, because even if you get that fully emptied out for them, they're not going to be in a position to participate in their healing until they've sat in that space for a while and they've reminded themselves that they are sovereign and that they have their own volition, they have their own power, they have their own ability to make choices, and all of those things, right? Until they've reminded themselves that they have the ability to participate in their own healing, they will not be prepared to participate in their own healing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been taking Reiki classes.
Yeah, I'm a Reiki too.
You're a Reiki too. So why don't you talk about what that experience is like for those who are thinking about becoming a Reiki teacher or Reiki practitioner, and how that went for you.
Oh, it was way fun. Now, my Reiki master, she, I'm gonna give her a quick little plug just because, Riverside Reiki, Miss Gail Mason, and we have a book that we used, and it's for first degree and second degree, and the one that I took specifically was Holy Fire Reiki. And so what that is, I'll say a cousin, it's a derivative, right, of it, where whenever you get your attunements, which in Holy Fire we call placements, until you get to the master level, it's called an ignition, but it's the same thing as an attunement. So you have your first level that you can give Reiki only to yourself. Second level, you can give it to other people. Then mastery level, that's when you can start teaching it and you can attune other people. And so in that, the Holy Fire, whenever you're getting the attunement, which is now it ignites that Reiki energy within you. That comes straight from source, as opposed from the source through the Reiki master into the student. So it kind of goes along with what you were saying, Kelly, earlier, is that what some people were finding in the Reiki community was that as people were giving Reiki and even attuning their students, they were passing on their own quote unquote interpretation of how the Reiki should work, instead of, honey, this has been around since ancient times, leave it alone, it don't need your help. So to kind of get that out, and have a more powerful attunement from that, it comes straight from source. The master is just literally holding space for that attunement to happen. Once certain things are done, I'm just going to leave it at that because that's a master thing. Y'all don't need to know that yet. Then that comes straight to you. And in Holy Fire Reiki, it's called, you have an experience. So you do a short now I have book work, like I had to know, here's the history. I had, where it came from Asui Sensei when he started, and there's a whole story about him going up to a mountain and getting the, information from Reiki, and then coming down, and they're like, what? He's like, yeah. And just kind of working with that. And like we learned, what actually Reiki means, the 2 sections of it. I had to learn my symbols. I had to learn the 5 precepts. And as a level 2, I also have to practice them in Japanese. So yeah, that's a thing. So precepts are just for today. I will not get angry. I will work hard. I will be kind to others. And I have written down, and I'll be grateful. And I won't worry. Yes.
I was just going to say, I didn't hear the one that only one I remember from when I used to teach this.
Yes. Yes. And so you have to know, my opinion, you have to know the history for your basis of what you're going to be doing, right? You show respect that way. You show respect to the ancestors, all the ascended Reiki masters, everyone who's come before you, And so I fully agree with what you were saying earlier with those people who are just kind of doing this, that, and the other. Well, they're not, in my opinion, they're not respecting, kind of those that came before them. So in mine, you went to class and we did it virtually, and we had the attunement. And for me, when I had my placement, there was such an overwhelming feeling of unconditional love. I have never in my life experienced that. It was crazy. And it was really, really ridiculous. I just felt like, so I felt my spirit guides before, but that particular time they were like, hey, we here. And it was in droves. And it was just such a strong energy. For my level 2, it was that times 10. And I remember this specifically because you're doing all this in meditation. Miss Gail's doing her thing. I don't know what she's doing. I'm in meditation. I'm in La La Land. And it's like, okay, so how like whenever you have a baby and like you lay the baby down, it's like in the, what's the thing called, bassinet thingy, right? And so like, okay, so I'm the baby and I'm looking up and I see like dark shadowish figures, kind of like everybody's gathered around the bassinet looking at the baby going, oh, how cute, that kind of thing, right? And I'm so first I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, hey y'all, how you going? I don't know who these people are, but I knew them. And it was and I have this one dude, I say dude, they know, I don't know who they are, but that's okay. He's an ancestor of some kind of thing. He's like big warrior Indian, like been there, done that, gonna whoop some ass warrior, like poof, right? Like all chiseled and everything. Dude, he was there. And then I had this blue light, like shiny thing. I don't know what she was, but she was really pretty. And it was amazing. So for me, that was like a whoa, I'm in the big leagues now. That was seriously transformational for me. I had not experienced that kind of energy running through my body. So fast forward, of course, I'm like, okay, I got to practice. So who do I practice on? my walking internship of a husband. Okay, the man chops wood, he builds stuff, he's a lumberjack. I mean, he gets hit in the face with 40 tons of a log because it slipped out of the log splitter, and he's like, ow, and he's pissed off at the thing, so I'm like, oh God. So bad knees, feet, whatever, but he keeps going. So every night I'm like practicing giving him Reiki, right? And he's like, cool, all right, sweet. And then my mom, I was practicing on her because like she goes and gets her knees worked on and stuff. She gets like the injections. Of course, she still ballroom dances. She's years old, and she still dances. So I do Reiki on her. Well, she's like, when I do it on her, and my prayer is, let me be the perfect hollow bone for Reiki to do what it's going to do. It doesn't need my help, y'all. It don't need y'all's help. It knows what to do. So I tell my ego, please step aside, let Reiki work. And then, y'all, it's the funniest thing. I put my hands on my mama's knees. She's like 90 pounds dripping wet. She's like, ooh, I feel the heat. It feels like a heating pad. And it's crazy. So I went from a little bitty pin, like in the middle of your palms, to my entire hand now, like up to my wrist, just goes woof, I can feel it. And then it's funny for me experiencing it because literally it'll tell me when the tank's full. And that's how I say it, because it goes cold. And I'm like, okay, well, and for me, it feels like a vacuum cleaner, like, and it's just, her body's just sucking that Reiki in there. And I'm like, all right, cool. So it's been an interesting ride.
It is. And I remember one time when the energy that I ran was not hot. It was cold.
That can happen too. Yeah.
Yeah. It was because somebody I was working on was having a nicotine fit. And so his body, he said it felt like he had ants crawling all over his body and he was just like agitated. And so I just put my hands out and I let the Reiki flow and my hands were ice cold. And he said, I can feel the cold creeping up my arms and it is soothing my skin and I feel better. And so that's the only time that I've ever channeled cold energy instead of warm or hot energy. So here's the thing about Reiki, and here's the thing about any energy work that you do. Okay. You are creating and or expanding an energy channel within you. In first degree Reiki, you're creating the specific channel that is tuned to the specific energy frequency of Reiki 1. And then in Reiki 2, you're expanding that channel. And in Reiki 3, you're expanding it more, or advanced Reiki, however you look at it. And some people combine advanced Reiki and Reiki Master. Some people teach them separately. I learned them separately. And again, you get more as a teacher, right? And so it expands even more. And each time you get an attunement, it expands more. So like I've had multiple Reiki Master attunements over the course of my life because every Reiki Master I met, we would exchange attunements to expand our energy fields, right? And so that was great. So what I did discover, though, is for some magic users, Reiki breaks. And that is because Reiki is, in a traditional attunement, the symbols are bound into the hands. And if you do any other energy work through your hands and you don't want to send it through Reiki because it's not meant for healing or whatever you're doing, then you can break the attunement. And I've had a student who did that multiple times. And so I ultimately had to develop a specific attunement process that was for magic users. And it just changed the way that the symbols were put into the hands and things like that. So if you would like a copy of a description of how to do that, if you're a Reiki Master, you have to prove to me that you're a Reiki Master for me to give this to you. But if you're a Reiki Master and you would like to have a copy of that process where you can attune it in a way that the Reiki still works the way it's supposed to, but you don't have to send everything through the Reiki symbols for it to work, for it to come out of your hands, then just send me an email at Kelle@kellesparta.com with an attachment of your Reiki Master certificate, and I will send you a copy of I'll send you a copy of the Reiki Master or the Reiki Master attunement for energy, Reiki for magic users.
Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reiki for magic users. Yeah, I can talk.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, were
Yeah.
you going to say about it not draining your personal energy? Was
Well,
that the thing that you were going to say, but you forgot?
yeah, I think it was. So yeah, if thank you.
Hearing that.
I love it when she like jumps into my head and reminds me of what the hell I was thinking when I couldn't remember it. Anyway, this is why we hang out with other psychic people. Yes. So energy work should never drain your own energy field. If it is, then you are doing it wrong. Okay. If you're giving away your own energy, then one, you are handing over your crap to somebody else because your energy contains your crap. Don't do that. They don't need your crap. They've got their own crap, right? And for two, you shouldn't be sending them your energy because that's codependent crap unto itself. And, you know, the universe has nice, clean, pure energy without crap attached, right? So you should be channeling that shit. And if you are not capable of channeling that shit without handing over your own energy, then you need to not be working on other people until you figure out how to do it right. And that's when you go back to your Reiki master and go, okay, I'm not doing this right. How do I fix it? And they will walk you through that. Okay. So if you are feeling drained at the end of a day of doing energy healing for people, unless it's just physically drained, because, you know, standing for 5 hours is a long time. That's you know, physically drained is one thing. Energetically drained, that's another. Okay. If you're energetically drained at the end of even 1 or 2 sessions, sometimes you're giving away your energy instead of opening up. And this is a pretty common thing for healers, right? Because we will go into the energetic fetal position if we feel challenged at all. And that means we close down our crown chakra, we close down our root chakra, and now we have no access to energy. And now the only thing we have to give is our own energy. And that sucks for all the reasons I just stated, right? You know, it's your energy. You kind of like to use it yourself, right? So, you know, the key is to open up to the energies of the universe. And so I'm going to remind you that on the YouTube channel is a tree meditation that will help you to open your crown and root chakras. You should absolutely do that tree meditation before you do any energy healing work, because then you know you're open to source instead of just giving from your own energy. Okay. So all of this to say, you know, pay attention, take care of yourself, take care of your environment. This is a lot of self-care. We become healers because we want to heal others because we have a hard time healing ourselves. And so, you know, pay attention to taking care of you, because until you have dealt with your issues to the point where something triggers them, you don't go into panic, oh my God, mode. You are subject to being a wounded healer, which is not ideal. So make sure that you are taking care of your own issues. And if you are finding that you're getting triggered and you don't know how to deal with those, we have a program for that. It's called Welcome to the Woo. And we can help you walk through all of those issues very quickly. In 4 months, you will walk through the things that are like sending you flying, right? And it'll help you come to a better place of safety and security and in your energetic field and in your personal self. And so that program is there. It's available. It's on the website at kellesparta.com. You know, if you're interested, you can sign up for a discovery call, which is in the top of the website, you know, navigation. You can sign up for that. Happy to talk to you about it and see if it's a good fit for you. Okay. In the meantime, please share this podcast. Please rate it. Please, you know, join the mailing list. And you can do that by downloading the Boundaries for Empaths program at the top of the website. That is a fantastic program, and it gets you on our mailing list at the same time, and it's free. So we love free, right? So check it out. Rate, subscribe, share. We love you. Thank you.
Yes. Thumbs up, subscribe, everything, all the things, all the things,
yeah.
all the things.
All the things,
and,
all the parts. Yes.
Oh, and one other little thing I keep hearing in my head is along what you were just talking about. For me, I'm talking about what Jules' experience has been. One of my things, of course, when I went into your program was trusting. I had huge trust issues, and that includes trust in the universe, y'all. I ain't even kidding. I mean, I have cussed out the universe a time or two, let me tell you.
Haven't we all?
And you're right. I'm just saying. And so, so with me, when I'm doing my Reiki, and y'all, remember, I'm part of me is right brain, part of me is left brain. I'm an auditor. So my analytical side is pretty darn strong. That's where my ego lives, right? And so I have to literally say, ego, please step aside so Reiki can do its thing. Because then if I don't, I'm using my energy, and it's like, no, just leave it alone. I'm just a hollow bone. It's just flowing right through me. Well, when I started, I didn't always feel. So I'm like, it's not working. This is bullshit. It's not working. I'm not trusting. And then every time I would have a dream that night, and it's like the elders come in, whoever they are, the beings, and they're like, all right, you got to get out your own way. It's working. And then my Miss Gail will be like, darling, what I say, I tell you, allow. You got to allow. Control is an illusion. You're not going to control this. You have to allow it. The more you allow, the more. So all of that to say, for me, your program helped me with the trust issues, so I could let go, and I could, you know what? The universe is going to take care of me. It has this far. I'm still breathing. We still good. Even if I wasn't breathing, it'd still be taking care of me. So, and the more that I just was like, all right, it's working. I don't have to feel it. I don't need that self-validation, because I already know there's a higher power at work, So for me, that helped me tremendously, because whenever you're starting out, it's like, Kelly, you know how I am. How do I know it's working?
Oh my God, we've had that conversation so many times.
Yes. I'm like, I need validation. It's not working, says my ego,
And I'm like, here's all the evidence that it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, that counts. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, kind of obvious.
I didn't know that counted. Shit, I have been doing it. All right, cool. So, and the internet, because when I was looking too, the internet courses, they're like, spend $20 and you don't even have to go to class. Watch these videos. Yeah, y'all, that's a scam. Don't do that. Just please don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
please don't do that. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So why don't you do the Kellyism for the day? Because you seem to have connected into that.
Allow it to work through you. You don't need to control it. It's okay. So that's the gift of it. We're the vessels. So, and I'm going to tell you funny, I wrote down that Miss Gail told me. Okay. So Reiki healers are the tow trucks of the woo-woo world. Let me explain. Chakras are the gas stations, right? The meridians and nodes throughout your body, that's the highways and byways. Reiki healers are the tow trucks clearing all the wrecks, the blocks, off those highways and byways. So there you go.
Okay. So I'm going to take what you said and squeeze it down into the size of a Kellyism. Open, relax, allow. There you go.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this week, folks. Tune in next time when Kelly adds another chapter into your guide to energy, magic, and the spirit world. I'm Jules, still a level 2, here with Kelle Sparta, and you have been listening to Spirit Sherpa. So long, y'all.
Bye.
Driving down the road, eyes on the horizon. Within my car, I'm all alone, but feeling good and feeling strong, knowing that this path I'm on brings me to myself. I'm driving, wondering where my spirit will. I'm driving.